What's up, everyone? It is Monday. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Colin. We're doing a special hour early version tonight because we wanted to accommodate my guest for this evening, and this guy is a rock star. He's someone who actually grew up not too far from Chicago, so he's a fellow Illinoisan, and he's also an actor and someone who I want to get into a little discussion with about because what he studied at Bradley University was something along the lines of communication analysis, and the way he referred to it was competitive acting. But before we get into that, just want to thank you all for being here again and for all your support. We got Espinoza here, we have Louise, we have Leanne, we have Elizabeth. What's going on? Grab your coffee or your adult beverage and buckle up, strap in. We're going to have another amazing conversation tonight as I grab a little sip of my caffeine here. And I've got some exciting news. On June 24th, 25th, and 26th, I'm going to be going to the Rama Drama Conference down in West Palm Beach, Florida. And the Rama Drama Conference is it's basically an opportunity for you to join or come and meet some of your favorite actors from some of your favorite TV shows and movies. I've got a bunch of people, a bunch of guys, other actors that I know who are going to be there. Rob Mays from The Client List, Drew Fuller, who I did a film with, Brian Krause from Charmed, Trevor Donovan from 90210. And I'm going to be having some of these guys on Coffee with Colin in a few weeks. So you guys are definitely going to want to make sure you get your tickets. All you got to do is go to ramadrama.com. And again, it's 3 days of being able to meet with us. And we're going to be doing on Saturday night what's called Acting with the Stars. So you're going to have the opportunity to get up on stage with us and do real scenes from soap operas and some of your favorite movies. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be doing a live version of my Inspire workshop. So my Inspire workshop, my 6-week goal setting course, I'm actually going to be doing a live version of it on Sunday. And also here in Chicago on April 23rd, I'm also doing an Inspire Summit. So I did my Inspire Summit last year virtually, had some amazing motivational speakers, and it was a great day for us to just be able to come together and get reconnected. And this is the first one live in person. So it's going to be an amazing opportunity for us to be able to come together. I'm going to be doing a keynote speech, and we've got some other speakers and a guest panel. And then afterwards, we're going to have an amazing networking fun party at the Pump Room. This April 23rd event, this Inspire Summit, is at the Ambassador Hotel in Chicago. And then afterwards, the networking event is downstairs in the Pump Room. And the Pump Room is a historic bar where Frank Sinatra used to play and spend time at, as well as a bunch of other notable celebrities. So it's going to be a really cool place for us to be able to do the Inspire Summit. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce my next guest. So he is a native of Peoria, Illinois. And as I mentioned to you before, he has extensive experience with communication strategy and sounds like some theory in there as well. So we're going to be getting into that. Feel free to post your questions up on the chat on the side here. And he's someone who has been in a bunch of shows, and he's also a theater trained actor. So some of the best actors out there in the world are the ones that have gotten their start on the stage. And he's been a part of several theater productions in Nashville and in Chicago. And I'm very jealous of him because he's been doing quite a bit of theater, and I'm going to be chatting with him about, maybe doing a play together. And he has also been on Chicago Fire, and he currently, he's got a whole list of credits we're going to be talking about, but he's currently on a show called Endgame on NBC, which actually airs on Monday nights. So after Coffee with Colin, you got to set your DVRs or just watch it live on NBC. And then on AMC on April 10th, a show called 61st Street is going to be premiering there. So this guy's done it all, and I'm excited to have him up here on the stage to have a chat. So without further ado, please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mr. Kamal Bolden. How you doing, Kamal?
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic as well. Great to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're currently in New York City, right?
Yeah. I'm in Brooklyn,
All
Bed-Stuy,
right.
do or die, right this moment, and preparing for another 5 a.m. call for
Oh,
tomorrow morning.
damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, so that's why we wanted to get you in
Hmm.
here before, so you get your good night's sleep.
Yeah.
We already have here. Who was that? Was that Espinoza that said she loves Endgame? Again, feel free if you have any questions for Kamal while he's here. Nadine says he's easy on the eyes as well. Nadine is very
Thank you.
handsome man here. Tina Snyder says she loves Chicago Fire. So Kamal, tell us about how you got your start with acting. Was it something from an early age that you were passionate about, or did you kind of fall into it? Tell us a little bit about that.
I would like to think that I fell into it, but I think everything happens for a reason. So I think it was just gradually set up over time. It took a long time, but I think it was gradually set up. I always had that knack for storytelling. I think back to some of the days when I was a kid, around like 12 or 13 or whatever, and whatever that age is where you can stay at home by yourself during the summertime. And my next youngest sibling is like 6 years younger than me. So I wasn't quite old enough to be babysitting, but I was old enough to be at home by myself. And I would find myself doing that thing where I would be like telling stories, all fiction, but I would be telling stories just to like an imaginary audience when I was a kid. So I always kind of had that knack of storytelling inside of me. But growing up in Peoria, Illinois, uh, the thing that was popular to do was to be an athlete, to play
Mhm.
basketball specifically. So I was trying to hoop. I was trying to be that guy. I was going to be the next Allen Iverson or whoever was at the time that was up. But man, genetics didn't have it in the future for me. So I
Yeah.
remember in high school, I was trying out for the basketball team. I made it to like the second level or whatever it was, and then I got cut, and I was like
Mm.
dejected. I was so distraught. But a friend of mine was like, "Hey man, you to make the basketball team, why don't you try the speech team?" And I was like, "That sounds nothing near cool. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
basketball speech team? Like, what are you talking about here?"
Yeah.
Um, but I had nothing to do, and I was trying to meet like girls and all that type of stuff. So I said, "Well, let's go see this type of girl. Let's see what she's doing over here." And luckily, I found something I was very passionate about, something that tapped into that storytelling ability I had when I was a kid, and I started doing speech and debate in high school. I started doing like plays, just kind of just acting around, clowning around a little bit. And then when I went to college, I was on the forensics team at Bradley University, which coincidentally is the most successful collegiate activity in the world.
Okay. And when you say forensics, because I asked you about this before we jumped on here, forensics, what I understood forensics to be was investigating crime scenes and that sort of thing. But this is a different type of forensics.
It's a different type. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. This type of forensics is just the simple, basic art of investigating, whether that's investigating new technology, whether that's investigating a form of communication, whether that's investigating a character. So in this
Mhm.
in this arena of forensics, it has an umbrella that covers after dinner speaking, where you take a societal problem or a topic, for instance, driving while black, and then you
Ooh.
present the causes, the effects, and the solutions of it, but you make it an entertaining speech. I did that event. I did the event of impromptu where someone gives you a prompt. It might be like the river flows upward, and I have six
Ooh.
and a half minutes to present the causes, effects, and whether I agree or not with this particular quotation. And I have to cite sources and things like, oh, according to like the National Geographic of 2014, whatever, that type of deal. And then like prose speaking, dramatic acting. So it was competitive acting in a way, you
Yeah.
know. But it was a great activity.
Yeah. I would think that that type of skill, more so than pretty much anything else out there, is one of the most useful skills you could possibly have in school. They teach algebra and trigonometry. Like, I don't know, maybe it taught me how to think a little be a little smarter in terms of like how to make sure that equations added up. But this is something that I wish I would have taken back in school. I think I probably was just too intimidated or too afraid to get up in front of a group of people to even do something like that. So with that being said, a lot of people, like I would say, and I've read this, and I'm sure you know this, that a big portion of society is afraid to get up in front of people and public speak. Was that something that was ever like, were you afraid of that, or was it kind of a natural thing for you to be able to want to get up in front of people and debate like that?
That's a great question. You're right. It's the number one fear of all people, public speaking. And for me, I have a very interesting relationship with it. It might be common, but when I first started out, it was a way of actually being less vulnerable. I felt like in my real life, I felt very vulnerable.
Mm.
But when I was publicly speaking in oratorical competitions or in forensics and debate, I felt less vulnerable, honestly. So I've actually done a 180 since then. My work has become more vulnerable since then. But when I first started out, it was a way to be someone else, to inhabit a different personality, a different facet of myself. So I was never scared of publicly speaking because I felt confident with it. But if you caught me off of the stage, I didn't have that same amount of confidence. So I have an interesting journey as an actor now coming from there.
Yeah. And, I talk about confidence in some of the speaking that I do. And based on what I can tell, confidence comes from when you know what you're talking about and you've coupled with the experience of having done it. So if you may know something, but unless you've done it, there's that missing element of actually being able to speak from firsthand knowledge. Um, would you say your confidence comes from, and the reason why I'm asking this as maybe some advice to people out there who are looking to gain more confidence when public speaking, is it you were confident because you knew the material, or was it just you were looking forward to the competition of it? What was it about that you felt confident? And if you could maybe share some advice to people who might be able to help them feel more confident with their speaking.
You hit the nail on the head, Colin. The confidence comes from being very assured of what you're talking about, knowing exactly what you're talking about, knowing that you're prepared and you've put in the work. And then there, you ascend, you take wings. I would say a lot of my confidence now comes from the same thing, preparation. I'm so prepared whenever I'm doing an interview or whether I'm doing um, a, a, a performance, a reading, anything it is, I'm very prepared for it. But now a lot of my confidence comes from my faith, my inner
Mm.
faith, and knowing that what will be, and what is supposed to happen is supposed to happen. So that means that I'm not afraid to fail up anymore. There's no downward trajectory for me, no
Fail
matter
up.
if, yeah, it's up. If I
Yeah.
muck it up or whatever, that was supposed to happen because the thing is, I did prepare
Yeah.
and I'm knowledgeable in whatever I'm presenting to them. So if something goes wrong, then that was all a part of the plan all along, and it's not a bad thing. Having fear of that before would make me less confident. You see what I'm saying? Or if something was to happen that I didn't plan for, I became less and less confident. But now I'm more confident because I truly trust in the faith in my higher power and knowing that what is for me is for me, and what's supposed to happen is supposed to happen.
Yeah. And especially with theater, I've been on stage, and I mentioned to you when I first started acting, started my education in acting. I started out with a woman named Jackie Siegel, but then concurrently, I also joined a theater group called the Tribeca, the Riant Theater Group in Tribeca. And we did the play A Few Good Men, where I played Tom Cruise's character, Dan Caffey.
Of course.
And there's a sequence of questioning where I question Colonel Jessup. And I there's questioning 1, 2, and 3. and I did the first line of questioning, and then I, for some reason, had a brain fart and went to questioning the number 3 part. And my back was to the audience and I'm facing the actor. And so I started asking this line of questioning, and you could tell his eyes were kind of like, what are you doing? And you got to go with it, man. And afterwards, no one in the theater knew. Like, they were like, no, I couldn't tell you guys fucked up. Like, it was just when you roll with it and when you fail up and just keep falling forward, a lot of the times it's those magical moments that I would say most actors pray for, because it's in those golden moments where like you come alive in a scene. Would you say that's similar to what?
Of course, 100%. I agree with that. Yes, I love those moments.
Yeah. And have you ever forgotten your line on like in the middle of a play?
You know, honestly, I don't remember a time. That's funny. I don't remember not remembering my lines. I really can't remember a time I went up, you know, as it were. But you know, it'll probably happen. Knock on wood. But that's what improvisation is for. You know,
Exactly.
I'm prepared whenever I'm going up there. So if it does happen, that's just part of the game. You know.
Yeah, and going to Bradley University and studying this forensic type of communication, was being a professional actor on the forefront of your mindset when you were doing this, or
Hell no.
No?
Hell no. I think it was in the back. It was way in the back. So, you know, I like to talk about Peoria. Peoria is very obviously it's my formative years I spent there all the way through high school. It wasn't a town that was very supportive of the arts per se, at least not for everybody. As a young Black male, cisgendered, heterosexual, you know, growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, you know, there weren't too many people trying to encourage me to go see a musical. You know, whether it was in my community, whether it was in my household, whether it was at my high school, it just wasn't a cool thing to do, you know, for anybody, you know, it just seemed like a very insular activity. And unfortunately for me, it took me longer to find out that was really my tribe. I just didn't have it in Peoria coming up, and I didn't have anyone who looked like me that came from Peoria that went on to do theater, that went on to do television and film. All I was taught was Richard Pryor, the inimitable, the legend, you know, from my city of Richard Pryor. But no one that I could actually look at and use as a mentor or a guide or benchmark to do it. So I always thought it'd be something I just kind of have in the back. You know, I just do it for fun. I got a degree in business administration, entrepreneurship, actually. And so I was just like, I'll do business and maybe I'll start a talent agency. Maybe that's what I'll do. But then when I graduated from college, I moved down to Nashville, Tennessee. There's only 2 things that get you to Nashville: country music or a girl. Country music or both. You know, you end up singing country music when it goes bad. So I got down there. I was with an actress at the time, and then I started doing community theater in Nashville while I was working a corporate job. And I found myself every day working 13, 14 hours a day. I was young, 24 years old, whatever it was. But then afterwards is when I came alive. I would drive 30 minutes after work into the city, and I would get up with a group of players at like Dream 7 Productions and Sister Style Productions and Kenny Playhouse, these small theater companies. No pay, no fanfare, small audiences, but heart and a lot of joy. And that's when I said, oh, this is what I'm really called to do. This is where I'm actually happy. I got to quit this job. And I made that big decision. It was a huge decision for me to quit, you know, a job that was paying me handsomely at the time, to go to some place that was paying me very non-handsomely, very ugly payments.
Did you give yourself like, I'm going to try this for a couple of years. If it doesn't work out, I'll go back to my job? Or what was your mindset?
Man, it's a great question. You know, that it's very important because, you know, what contract, that's like the Mamba mentality has been teaching us, you know, for the late Kobe Bryant, is that you make that contract with yourself and you don't break that contract, right? So with me, I never once told myself I only had a certain amount of time in the game.
Mm.
I said, once I quit, I will never regret quitting this corporate job. I will never
Mm.
look back because I'm chasing my happiness. This is something I'm pursuing. Is just what makes me happy. Now, once I got in the game and life in reality start to hit, you know, you're getting a little bit older. The jobs are coming less and less frequently. You're dating on a budget. You know,
Yep.
you don't have a lot of money and all this other stuff. Then you start telling yourself these things like, hey, man, if I don't make it by 32, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna find something else. If I don't make it by 35, I'm gonna quit. Those type of things start creeping in.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it does happen to any actor out there, don't beat yourself up. It's natural. But the only way I'll quit this thing is if God, excuse me, if God actually tells me, hey, you got to move on to something else. Otherwise, I ain't quitting it.
And so you'd be willing to take like side jobs, anything that would support you with your acting?
No,
No.
no.
Well, so you're just committed that you and you're like, I'm gonna get a paid acting job, hell or high water.
That part
All
right
right.
there. You know, a lot of people ask me about that. I did quit my job. I think I probably had about $30,000 in the bank from this corporate
Mhm.
job in my savings. I made a bad investment with a friend of mine, and I probably had about $24,000 left. I went and bought a Honda Accord. At the time, that was the best investment I ever made in my life. That thing lasted me until it was killed just about a year ago. Okay. I bought a 2008 Honda Accord for $10,100 cash. I wrote a check for it. I didn't want to owe anybody nothing. Dumb move. I went to business school. I should have known better. I should have kept some of that liquidity, but I just wanted to have something to own it, right?
Yeah.
So I had, let's say, $12,000 left to move to Chicago. Well, no, I stayed another year in Nashville, Tennessee, making $300, $450 a week for, you know, these plays that were coming. But I told myself I'm never gonna get a job. Now, when I first started, I ended up working at the Cheesecake Factory as a waiter, and I can say without a doubt, I was the worst waiter that ever lived.
Oh, I don't
It
know
was
about that.
terrible.
I've right here, man.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where were you a waiter at?
I was at a waiter at the University of Iowa Athletic Club and the Flossmoor Brewery in Flossmoor, Illinois. And yeah, just, I just wasn't my thing, man.
It wasn't my thing either, man. I don't know why I thought because I was an actor, I was supposed to be able to do it, just have like this
Yeah.
innate ability to do it. No, it was terrible. And so I did that for about 3 months, and I realized, yo, you just gotta work hard for a job. Whether it's sleeping on someone's couch, whatever it is, don't do the side job thing, because then I'm a servant of two masters. If I'm working these long hours here, I don't have the time and the capability and the mental capacity to actually focus on this audition, to give it everything that it deserves. And that's a big time gamble. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm rolling the dice. I'm out here giving all of this to an audition that literally 5,000, 6,000 people are going to submit to. They're going to see 100 people in the room or something like that. The odds are like hitting the lottery, but that is the commitment I made to myself. Because otherwise, if I'm sleeping, I'm trying to prepare for this audition and I don't go in there and do it well, I've done the whole thing a disservice. I never truly gave myself over to it. So, at one point I did move back in with my aunt. She's a very wealthy business person, her and my uncle. And I stayed in their guest room upstairs in Joliet, Illinois. And I drove to Chicago back and forth for auditions. And, on 55.
Oh, yeah.
It's live at 55. You know what I mean? That could be like a 2-hour drive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I put the work in, man. And finally I started getting plays and commercials and television, and it started working. And I was able to move out and get my own spot.
Okay.
But the side job thing, I never touched it again.
Okay. Yeah. So you've been working pretty consistently since then.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
Ever since 2009. 2008 or 2009, I've always, been able to find some type of employment, whether, like I said, it was an industrial. I did everything: industrials, theater, commercials. I did a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Connie Prelwitz asks, do you like theater or TV better?
It's a great question, Connie. Listen, if I had a choice and I could choose not only the medium which I was to do, but like who I worked with or what type of script I worked with, and the pay structure was the same, like in this world, it's the same as in the real world, then I have to choose TV and film. It's a greater payoff, one, financially. Two, you're immortalized, you know, forever on this. It becomes part of the artistic canon. So I'm gonna go with film and television, but that's if I'm like thinking it all the way through. You know, I'm
Mhm.
juggling all of that. My gut, I love theater. I
Mhm.
love the raw spontaneity. I love to hear, feel, sense the audience in there going on this journey with me in real time. And
Yeah.
you can't repeat this journey ever again. You come there that night, that show is different from the next night's show or the night before. It is always live and in person and it's raw. And the amount of time that I get to investigate a character,
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Yep.
3 or 4 weeks of rehearsal. And then as the show goes on, I'm still investigating it and I'm still asking myself questions. I'm still finding out more about myself through the character and through
Mhm.
the other actors on stage. It's theater for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I do definitely miss that aspect of having that time to rehearse, because with TV and film, you book that job, and I mean, it's like you're regurgitating. Well, you're essentially, you've got new dialogue every single day, and I would walk away from my scenes, and like an hour later, something would come to me like, "Oh man, that's what the scene was," or like,
Yeah.
I'd want to go back and reshoot it, and it's, unfortunately, it's done. So you got to cram a lot more preparation into TV and film than 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 theater, especially with soap opera. Have you ever done any soap opera by
No, I
chance?
haven't. I haven't.
No.
Not yet.
Yeah, man. Doing 60 to 80 pages a day on All My Children. Crazy,
Woo.
right? Yeah. Crazy, crazy.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so in terms of doing theater and then also doing TV and film, to prepare and to get ready to be on camera, it takes something. It takes preparation, it takes energy, it takes focus, it takes some discipline. What do you do to re-energize, to recharge, to make sure that you are taking good care of yourself to be able to sustain these long hours with like maximum amount of energy and commitment to the role?
That's a great question, Colin. And for those out there that are like, yes, how do you do it? And you've been wondering, um, that's where that theater background, I think, comes in very handy. Whether you've gone to a conservatory and studied theater, or if you've, like me, gone to the School of Hard Knocks. I've just taken classes everywhere, all over the country, and I've performed and learned from, the giants upon their shoulders that I stand. And I want to say that every night with theater, as you know, when you were doing it back in college and what you've seen other people do, it's, you have a routine that you get into um, that teaches you about being in tune with your instrument. So the
Mhm.
warm-ups that we do as thespians, whether it's vocal warm-ups, where it's physical warm-ups, they're not done just out of rote memorization. They're not done out of just routine. What you're doing is you're constantly checking in with your instrument. How does my throat feel tonight? How do my articulators feel tonight? Are my lips kind of stiff? Are they, very fluid right now? How is my back? How is my posture? Once you
Mhm.
start to find those things out, your body does this like it starts to do the computations. It starts doing all of the analysis and it's going, you're not in the pocket. You're not in that
Yeah.
place where you're ready and you're ready to attack this play. And so you figure out how to do it. Oh, I should stretch a little bit more. Or I should warm up a different way. I should go talk to somebody. Because while my body is warm, my mind isn't. Let me go have an intense conversation with somebody, or not an intense conversation, start yelling. But no, let me have a great conversation with someone I know is provocative. Or let me
Mhm.
listen to a podcast that might give me some inspiration, totally unrelated to the play and my character. but it might give me artistic inspiration. And
Yeah.
so I want to say that for television, I make sure that I'm there very early. I wake up very early because I need that time to check in with myself and say, hey, am I ready? Am I
Yeah.
ready as an artist to be the most open and expressive and loose artist that I can be? Because like you said, if I get on the camera and there's only 2 or 3 takes
Yeah.
and they're gone, it's like, no, now I'm loose. I'm ready. Now it's too late. You got to be
Yeah.
ready. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think and I'm sure this is probably similar with you. I found my experience being an athlete growing up, I've relied upon tremendously with acting and everything that I do, because like you said, as an athlete, you're constantly monitoring, and I do marathons and triathlons, so I'm constantly also regulating and watching what I eat to be able to find the ways and foods that are going to sustain my energy level. And I don't care if you're a professional athlete or an actor or if you're an accountant, like anyone can benefit from this type of check-in with your body. And that's one of the great things that I did love about acting class was you really do get in tune not only with your body and how it feels. And there's the Alexander technique where making sure that your alignment, your posture is lined up correctly so that you can project. And even like right now, I can tell that my voice is a little hoarse. So like there, I can definitely check in, and I know when I need to shut it down for a little bit, when I can like push it a little bit further. And yeah, I would encourage anyone who has the opportunity to just even take an improv class to be able to start getting in tune with their body. And what I love about acting too is that by taking acting class, I became more integrated mind, body, and spirit with regards to being able to show up not only on stage but in my life, feeling that my physical instrument was strong, my mental acuity was like on point, and my spiritual connection to the words that I was saying after doing an analysis of the script. That's when I started gaining my confidence in life,
mm-hmm.
because once you integrate and connect inward with all of this, that's when I felt like, all right, I don't have to look out there for people's approval for what I'm doing, because you start to build inside yourself that self-confidence that allowed me to be able to finally get up in front of people and not be, I mean, I still get nervous in front of people and before I start shooting, but to me, I think of it as excitement. And I think of it
Yeah.
as an opportunity to like get out there and just like, all right, game time. It's like those few minutes right before kickoff, right?
Yep.
And it's those little kind of scary moments that make me just remind me of being alive and what it means to be excited about things still. Is that similar to how you feel about your performing? Do you get nervous? Do you get butterflies before you still perform?
All the time. All
Yeah.
the time. But I'm more, like you said, I'm excited. I'm really excited to tell a story because that's at the end of the day, that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's I've lost that whole competitive edge I used to have in forensics and debate about trying to do it the best or do it right. And I realized that it's about telling a story right then in that moment. What story are you
Mhm.
wanting to tell tonight? And that's the fun of it. And when you do that, you
Yeah.
breathe differently. And the audience breathes differently and they
Yeah.
feel it differently,
Yeah.
So 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say you've had some like mindset stuff that you've had to contend with, like, the little voice in our head that kind of yaps up once in a while where we're like, who do you think you are to be able to do this? And um, do you have to do you do any sort of like listening to Tony Robbins or anything like that to get you mentally prepared for what you do?
It's a great question. Yeah, that voice, it's a formidable opponent. But I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated against that voice. I'm about
I love it.
1,000-0 right now against that voice. It keeps trying though. It's a little engine that could. It keeps trying to get me, but it's never gonna do it. That voice is never gonna go away. But what's interesting is it's a very annoying an obnoxious voice because it knows it's not going to win, but it's just testing you to see if you're going to be weak enough to let it win that day. Because my mere existence is already a victory. Like, for instance, when that voice tells me, who do you think you are? I think you're going to be a series regular or whatever it is. It's like, I can literally go through my track record and say, I think I'm that because of this, 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 and this. And the only way I can be defeated and lose to that voice is if I forget all of that. If I forget everything. And it's not about necessarily like a specific accomplishment. It is about literally the journey. I'm talking about every staged reading, every audition that you did, that you felt alive in. That is a victory. That's why you should feel that your dreams are going to come true. It's not about what somebody else is affirming in you. It's not about like you reaching a certain plateau. Listen, my hat goes off to everybody that saw the Oscars last night and wants to win an Oscar or wants to slap shit out of somebody while winning an Oscar. That's, you know, if you want to get that double combo, that's on you. Do that. My hat goes off, but that is not a goal of mine. And it's not because I have some ideological gripe with you know, competitive awards or subjective awards or anything like that. It's just because I understand that that's not what storytelling is about. There's no competition to it, and I don't need somebody to tell me that I did the best storytelling. I know in my heart when I am being truthful, because all you're trying to do is just tell the story the most truthful way possible. And that journey is the one I'm on. Every day or every job, I'm trying to get closer and closer to my own truth, my own advancement in the art, and I don't know it. I don't need somebody to come and be like, oh man, you're so much better than you were last year. It may feel good, but do I believe it?
That's the goal.
If I believe it, then when that doubt creeps in, I go, wait, come on. Didn't you just the other day start reading a sonnet? You were reading a sonnet 122 or something, and you flow through that sonnet way better than you flowed through that sonnet 2 years ago. It was choppy. It was, you know, you didn't know what you were saying. You didn't understand that sonnet. You understand that sonnet now. That's how good you are now. So you should feel like one of these days I'm going to be able to work on a project that I really love with people that are really good, and I'll be respected. You should feel that way.
I think it's great advice. I think looking back where we were 6 months ago, a year from now, I think we forget the progress that we've made because we're always looking at what we don't have and where we want to be rather than where we were and how far we came. And I think that's great advice. Yeah. Sharon Kalma asks, who would you like to work with? And so far in your career, who did you like working with and what did you learn from them?
That's a great question. Who would I like to work with? Uncle Denzel. I would love to work with Uncle Denzel. I would love to work with Nicole Bahari. I think she's an amazing actress. I would love to work with Meryl Streep, maybe. There's I mean, you name it, Jeffrey Wright, Ryan Coogler. I think he's an amazing director. I think Spielberg is an amazing director. You know, there's a lot of people, you know. I would love to work with oh man, I lost his name. I feel so disrespectful, but the brother who directed what was the movie that won the Oscar a couple years ago? It was a Korean film. The family, they took over the other family.
Oh, was it Crazy Rich Asians?
No. It was like that thriller where they were like poor and then they went and they were like cleaning the house or whatever that movie is.
Okay. Someone will type it in here in the chat. Anyone who knows what Kamal is talking about, just feel free to type it.
That movie was amazing. It was a one-word movie, but anyway, it'll come to me later. Working with those people. So far, my first like big recurring thing on television, and I've had a lot of people really give me a lot of great things over the years, but the first like star I worked with that I was like, Parasite. Thank you, Miriam. Ooh. Yes, Parasite, that director. Woo. Amazing work. But listen, when I worked on this show called Rosewood on Fox, I was working with this guy, Morris Chestnut. And Morris Chestnut is like, been around since Boys in the Hood with the late, great John Singleton, and he's done a lot of great work. And he's very big in like the Black community, but then he also has a lot of great crossover projects and things like that. But I got on the set with him, and I immediately like had this out of body experience because he just seemed so normal. It wasn't that I was expecting him not to be, but I just was so overtaken by how normal he was. So I said, why do I feel this way? And so I actually just spoke it out loud to him. I was like, hey man, you mad normal, bro. Like you're really normal. And he goes, yeah. I'm sitting there with him. I'm like, but no, I'm thinking you're a big star. You're a heartthrob. Women love you. Oh, you've never been in tabloids. You never have any controversy or, some gossip, and you come to work every day and you know everyone's name, every person's name, mm-hmm. Catering, the grips, the gaffers, and you know them. And you never talk about the success of the show or the lack of success. You never talk about work. He's like, oh yeah, I come to work and I just do my job. And I started watching him more from then, Colin, and I saw how he led by example. And that example was this: you come in, you're nice to every single person because every single person matters on that set to make your job easier. So you make their job easier. You respect every single person from the co-star to the guest star to the series regular. Yeah. And you just be a regular human being. You do the best job you can and you go home. And the way he led that ship on that show, I was blown away. He was amazing. And so that is my role model. That's who I aspire to be whenever I'm on a set, is to just make everyone else's job easier, Yeah. And lead by example like he did.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference when you've got someone like that as a lead actor or director. I mean, that's the type of when you got that kind of person at the helm, that's the kind of person that you will do the things when no one is looking, and you'll go above and beyond, even when you may not be getting paid as much as other people. When people feel appreciated, when they feel recognized for who they are and what they're doing, they'll go to the ends of the earth with you. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with companies now. And as someone who has a business degree, I'm sure you probably can appreciate this too, because I do, as an entrepreneur myself, I've got a couple of companies and I do some real estate, and it just blows my mind how sometimes I run into people who are either presidents or CEOs of certain organizations. And I'm like, how the hell did you get here? Like, you are the worst communicator. All you talk about is the bottom line, and you have shown no appreciation or recognition for anyone here. And I think that's why some of these like big box stores, no one can find work nowadays because people don't feel appreciated. People are like, I'm done. I want to find something that is more meaningful. I want to work for maybe a smaller company, maybe for a little less money, where I feel like my contribution matters to people.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. In terms of leadership and directing, do you have any aspirations to do any directing yourself?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm writing 2 short films right now. I'm in the process of writing these short films, and I'm going to direct both of them. I'm not looking to be in them. I want to fully step into the director's chair and see what that feels like, from that perspective, that POV. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I got a bunch of directing books. I don't have them here in Brooklyn with me, but I have like 4 that I bought before I came to Brooklyn that are back in LA. So I got a lot of studying to tackle, a lot of movies to watch, and I'm just looking forward to throwing myself into that too.
Awesome. Yeah, I could definitely see you going that route. And when you do direct, when it comes time to hiring actors for your projects, have you been on that side of it, the other side where you're actually casting or a part of the hiring process of other actors?
I have not been. I have not. I've talked, but I haven't been in that side. But I've started with my friends first, which is what everybody does, which is what you're supposed to do. I have so many talented actor friends. So my Rolodex is already full.
Yeah.
But then I also know that as an actor, I know how I like to be treated when
Yep.
I'm on the other side of the casting table. So
Mhm.
now I have a whole new perspective, and I am going to try my best to be the model casting, director or
Yeah.
casting person when I'm in there, is to treat people with respect and dignity,
Hmm.
respect their hard work.
Yeah.
I call them in to see what they have that could
Right.
possibly contribute to my project. So therefore, I'm going to respect that time, that space, and make it a fun and memorable experience for them too.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why I asked that is because what I learned too from acting is that it's more so how you show up in life that dictates how people treat you. And my acting teachers would always talk about how um, the first 2 seconds that you walk into a casting, the director, producers, casting director, they form an opinion about you, just even the way that you walk into a room. And that is not limited to a casting or an audition. That's everywhere in life. And so that then kind of parlays into the conversation of what do you find attractive about other people, because it's that attractive sort of it quality, I guess you could say, that makes you want to pick that actor over a different actor. Some actors, maybe have the same proficiency and talent, but if there's that energetic whatever it is that sets those actors apart, I like to think of it's that same quality that makes us fall in love with people. And I think sometimes when we get in our own head and we worry about what people think of us, how we're showing up, how we sound, we prevent the opportunity for other people to really see us for who we are. So if you could just talk a little bit about, and because you have some extensive training with this, it's not just what you say, it is how you say it and how you show up with that type of energy. Um, what could you say to people who are maybe some insight or advice on what makes people attractive in terms of that energy, and what type of energy you need to bring to an audition, to a TV show, to a play, to a relationship?
Man, that's amazing. That is beautifully put. And I really appreciate you asking me this question because it gives me a chance to speak voice and truth to something I'm going to be doing pretty soon. So thank you. Quite succinctly, because I feel like you really did a great job of summing up like what we are attracted to. To me, it's that fearlessness to be oneself, which
Mhm.
is a form of confidence.
Yeah.
When you just feel free enough to be your authentic self when you walk
Yes.
into a room, I
Boom.
think then you lose the air of arrogance. You lose the air of there's no self-deprecation, there's no sabotage, and you also present a space of openness. I think anytime somebody walks in the room, like you said, not just in the audition room, but just any room, what we're attracted to is the if that person is open enough to where we could have an interaction. There are some people who don't come in open, and they
Mhm.
might be the most attractive people, they
Yeah.
might be the most confident people, but if you don't have an openness to you of experience, then what's going to make me want to come over there and talk to you or
Yeah.
hire you or be around you if you're closed off and you're just performing? you
Mhm.
know so when someone walks into an audition, if they perform for me, it might work if they're
Yeah.
just an amazing performer. But like you said, if someone else comes in and they give 9/10 90% of that performance, but also has this openness to them, that are like, so what do you like to do, what do you want to do with this character, or like they have this openness to where we can have a conversation and collaborate on this thing,
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to be attracted to.
Yeah.
you know
Absolutely.
so someone who's just open to the possibility of interaction and collaboration, that's what I'm attracted to.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all in line with the first thing you said tonight was fail up. Just go
Yeah.
into life, just, and I've heard it in another said a different way or another way, just keep failing forward.
Yeah, failing forward. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you do walk into auditions, do you like to chat with the casting director and the directors about the character, or do you like to just get right into it when you go into the room?
That's a good question too. Listen, when I first started, I was coming from that competitive forensics background. We would have these rounds where you would compete against 5 other competitive speakers, other competitors, and there was this air that you want to walk in and very confident, and someone who was owning the room,
Yeah.
right? And there's a journey. When I first started auditioning, that was me. I wanted to walk in and own the room. I am going to take this role, right? That's no longer me because I recognize now that the role is a work in progress for me. So I'm not trying to show you that I figured out this character. I am showing you or sharing with you. I am going to share with the casting director what I have come up with so far, whether that's actually in a conversation or it's just in the performance. I'm going to read the room, as they say. If I come in and say hi, very humanly, hi, whatever, and they seem open, the energy seems open to ask a question, or if they
Mhm.
actually ask me if I have a question, of course I have a question.
Yeah.
It's impossible for me not to have a question. Sometimes, when we're like, I think I got it. No, you got a question. You got a question. You don't know, you didn't write this script. You don't. So
Yeah.
even if that question isn't specifically about like how you're going to execute a specific beat,
Yeah.
you might have a question that's about the story itself. Like, where did it come from? These are
Mhm.
interesting things that could inform you in that performance, quote
Yeah.
unquote, that audition. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to be scared to ask these questions because I didn't have the confidence. I want to come off like I didn't read the script or I didn't study. And now I'm like, oh, that was just some stuff in my head. Now I'm coming in. You got any questions? Yeah, I do. I thought it was interesting with this thing that happened in this particular part. Like, can you talk about this? And then they might talk about it. I might go, oh. So in that second scene, when I'm doing that thing, hey, that helps me out. Thank you,
Mhm.
thank you. And then I can play a little bit more because I have more information. Now I'm more
Mhm.
confident again. Like you said,
Yeah.
the more information I have, the more preparation I have, the more confident I am. So I
Yeah.
always ask questions. If they want to talk about something, I'm not going to cut them off. They're the master of their time,
Mhm.
But I used to. I used to say, no, no questions. I used to try to get out of the room as quickly as possible because I didn't want to give the impression that I was trying to ingratiate myself with them, that I
Yeah.
was trying to, stay in the room longer and impress them.
Yeah.
That's all bull. If they're talking to you, talk back. Have a great
Yeah.
time. They'll
Yeah.
cut you off when they need to, and then you leave.
Yeah. Good advice. Good advice. And in terms of you saying you used to go in the room and take it. This is my room. I'm going to take this is my role. I'm going to take it. Would you say you believe in law of attraction, power of manifestation, where you kind of do your thing and what will come to you was meant to be? Or do you still actively go out and go after those projects that you really care about and make the effort to network and find out who the director is and who the casting director is and try to create relationships with those people? Or do you kind of let it breathe a little bit, do your thing, and let the cards fall where they may?
It's a great question. Listen, I've tried. Maybe I haven't truly tried that whole thing of the networking, finding this out. But you'll know the projects that you're truly interested in, and with that, your interest will lead you to organic ways of coming in contact with these people. Like for instance, I love the show Atlanta, with Donald
Mhm.
Glover, and I've had a self tape for that show. It was probably 4 years ago or something like that.
Mhm.
And what I would love to be there on that show, but I also know that my belief is if it's really meant for me to be on there, then I would. What I'm doing is enough to get me there, and if I don't, then it wasn't meant for me. So to each his own with that. Some people might say, no,
Mhm.
you should be writing a letter, or you should be like doing a specific thing, or asking to get in a room with him. That's not necessarily my style.
Mhm.
Whether or not it's writing things out to manifest it, what we call like scripting, like asking your higher power or the universe for it.
Mhm.
That's one way of doing it. But in terms of like, I'm gonna go to a specific party and in LA, and I'm gonna chop it up with him, and I'm gonna do all of this. Teach his own. That's not the way I go about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Pilar Lima is asking, did you get your dreams?
I did. I did. Yeah. And I'm in them. I'm in my dreams every day. Yeah.
I
That's a
can
great
tell.
question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Listen, sometimes when you dream, especially, here's one thing that we do. We dream, we start dreaming at, like, I don't know, some kids dream at 7 or 8, or you dream at 16 or 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's one thing to keep that dream, which is cool, but think about it. You started that dream when you only had so much information, only had so much data, so much experience.
Mhm.
It's okay if that dream shifts. It doesn't mean you gave up on it. It doesn't mean
Right.
that it's not going to happen. It's just you're a different person now. So
Yeah.
my dreams have actually changed. When I was younger, my dream was to get an Oscar and to be this, and be all of that. But I've experienced the life that I'm supposed to live, and I have
Mhm.
no regrets. So my dreams have changed, and I'm actually living in them. I'm supporting myself as an actor.
Mhm.
I've done great projects. I've done projects overseas. I did a movie in Wales. I've done things. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy. I'm satisfied in my dreams, but I still also have that quench to find the deeper truth that within me as an artist and what I can express. But that's just a personal goal. But yeah, I've
Yeah.
got my dreams. I
Yeah.
got it.
Well, I think we can all definitely agree that you are definitely living your dreams because you are lit up and you're doing amazing work. And it's now that time of the show, Kamal, where you get to share with us your favorite movies and suggestions. And I'm going to do that through these 6 questions about your favorite films. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
All right. So, first question is, what is your favorite film of all time?
It's a oh, that's a good. Okay, so I used to say it was The Shawshank Redemption. And it still is. That's an amazing movie to me. I think it's a tie between The Shawshank Redemption and Lackawanna Blues. Those two movies are my
Okay.
favorite movies of all time.
Tell us about Lackawanna Blues. I've heard of it.
Lackawanna Blues is from Ruben Santiago Hudson. He actually performed it as a one-man show, showcasing his relationship with the woman who raised him in a boarding house in upstate New York. And then because the show was such an amazing project as a one-man show, HBO and him, they collaborated. He got some of his famous friends like Jeffrey Wright and Essie Pate the Murkison from like Boston Public and Law and Order. She's always on those shows, and Chicago Med. She's on Chicago Med now. He got Essie Pate the Murkison and Delroy Lindo and Carmody Ho and just so many people, amazing actors, Terrence Howard, and they actually made it into a movie, and the movie is absolutely like it's just quintessential viewing. It's got everything. It's a beautiful story.
Awesome. All right. Nice. Good suggestion. I'm always looking for movies that I haven't seen. So
Okay.
definitely going to be checking that one out. Next question is, what is your favorite movie from when you were a kid?
That would be, well, when I was a kid, it was The Inkwell with Lorenz Tate and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Okay.
And Morris Chestnut was in that movie too. But when I became like a little bit older, my favorite movie was A Low Down Dirty Shame with Keenan Ivory Wayans and Jada Pinkett Smith. Wow,
All
how
right.
apropos is that after last night? So Jada Pinkett Smith is an amazing actress, yes, and that movie, A Low Down Dirty Shame, to me is an underrated cult classic. Keenan Ivory Wayans, his comedic timing, his leading man charm,
Yeah.
his action with Charles S. Dutton and all that, like that was an amazing movie, man. It was great. So
Awesome. Good suggestions. Next one is, what is your favorite romantic comedy?
oh, easy, Boomerang, Eddie Murphy.
Boomerang.
Eddie
Okay.
Murphy, hands
That's
down.
a great movie. Yeah.
Hands down, Eddie Murphy is amazing. He's sublime in that movie. Everybody is Martin Lawrence, David Allen Gritt. Like Hands down, Boomerang.
Awesome, awesome. What is your favorite, just straight comedy?
Coming to America, Eddie Murphy.
That's a great movie too.
I like what I like, man. Coming
Yeah,
to America is that's the one,
that's a
man. I think
classic, man.
it's a
It,
classic, man.
yeah,
It's a classic. Yeah,
yep.
Coming to America.
And who is your favorite actor or male character?
Mm. In film, it's interesting. I would say Denzel Washington is. I mean, you just look at that body of work, and you can go from Glory to crazy body of work. Now, there's been some characters, but it's funny because in one of my favorite Denzel films, Don Cheadle famously kind of outshines him a little bit. Uncle
Oh,
Denzel out me outshined you, but
which movie is this?
it's called Devil in a Blue Dress, and Don Cheadle plays this character Mouse, and it's a detective mystery movie. Kind of like a little bit of a film noir. It's a little dark, but that type of thing. And Don Cheadle plays this like very quick-witted, but like short-fused, like hitman that he calls in to help him out. Oh man, you got to watch
Okay.
that performance. Don Cheadle, he has one of the best lines of all time. If you didn't want him killed, why'd you leave him with me? Even out of context, that's an amazing line. If you didn't want him to be killed, why'd you leave him with me?
Wow. All right. Love it. And then finally, favorite actress or female character?
There's so many great actresses, man. I mean, from the Scarletts Johanssons and the Nicole Kidmans and the Angela Bassett's and Loretta Devine, I think is amazing. I love her comedic timing. I Anjanou Ellis. You know who I'm gonna go with? I'm gonna go with an unconventional answer. It doesn't mean that. Yeah. It's not about who's the best. You asked me who's my favorite.
Yeah.
Who's my favorite is this woman named Lisa Nicole Carson.
Hmm.
Lisa, and she was in Devil in a Blue Dress, as a matter of fact. Lisa Nicole Carson used to be
Yeah.
on Ally McBeal back in the day. She was like the best friend to Ally McBeal. But in her films, she is so she does the most unexpected, but yet authentic, realistic, like interpretations of a character.
Hmm.
And she's absolutely, without a doubt, just like she's so inventive. She's so inventive. She says things that you never think that a person would say them the way she says them. Similar to like when we first heard like Christopher Walken back in the day. You're like, wait,
Yeah.
how are you phrasing that? What? She's that level, but with a lot more heart. The
Okay.
heart of a black woman. She's
Yeah.
Lisa Nicole Carson she's a bad woman. She's amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Great suggestions. And before we let you go here, just if you could tell us a little bit about your upcoming projects. So you're currently on Endgame and on 61st Street, which is going to be airing on April 16th, is it?
The
April
10th. The 10th,
10th.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about Endgame, which you're currently on right now.
Man, okay. And I would love to. The Endgame on NBC tonight, 10 o'clock, 9 Central, is one of it's kind of like that new hybrid thriller heist type of show where you're gonna get a very cerebral plot line of figuring out who's in bed with who, what's happening, who has the thing that's the key to this. But then there's also the thriller part where the stakes are very high. It's very high paced. Basically, what happens is there's Elena Fedorova, who is an international arms dealer, played by Morena Baccarin, obviously from like the Deadpool series and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
And she's taken siege of 7 federal banks in New York. And my wife on the show, Ryan Michelle Bathay, the inimitable, she's amazing. She's like goes head to head with her. She's an FBI agent tasked with finding out these riddles and how she can bring the banks back. And within this thing, every time she takes a bank, as we've seen from the first 5 episodes, there's a specific reason for it. Some people actually go down, and it continues to point to what's going on in our society. And Ryan Michelle Bathay's character is like uncovering all of this in the midst of like everyone around her not believing her. Like they're like, no, that's not it. But she figures it out. She knows better. And I play her husband, who is a disgraced FBI agent who's actually behind bars for taking seized drug money. And I play a hand in what's going on outside the prison.
Isn't it amazing how these writers come up with this stuff? I'm
Yeah.
like, it just blows my mind when I watch movies and TV shows. I'm like, this is so freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when
Sounds like a great show.
when I got the script, all my friends that are actors in LA and actually Chicago too were calling me like, have you gotten the script? Are you getting an audition for this? Are you getting an audition for this? Like literally everybody was like, I want to be on this show. So for me to actually be the one chosen to be on there, it feels really good.
How was that audition process?
It was the normal audition process. Nothing was different. The only thing I can say is I auditioned. I sent in a tape from a friend's house. And then I had another tape. I think I had a callback tape or something like that. I sent that tape in for another scene or whatever. And then I had a Zoom callback. And I was actually in Peoria, Illinois, in my mother's house. My mother runs a home daycare center.
Okay.
With like young kids that's attached to the house. And so the only difference was preparing the space to do a test. I had to do an actual screen test over Zoom because it's during, a pandemic.
Yeah.
So I had my mom take all the kids to the park on the summer day. I had like a couple of my lights that I traveled with in my suitcase just in case things like this happen.
Yeah.
I had a chair from our dining room table. I set up it was a crock pot that my mother never opened, a Christmas gift, and then an air fryer that my mother never opened, another unopened Christmas gift that I set my laptop on top of with books underneath that, some lamps that I took the shades off of and tilted them to get better lighting in front of like the picture window with the curtain. And I went for it. You know what I mean? Like you don't need the studio. You don't need the professional self-tape. Those people are great.
Right.
I'm not trying to take their business away, but what's for you is for you. And even my camera was messing up during the thing. Like this particular camera right here started going blurry. They were like, hey, we got to do that again. Your camera went blurry. I didn't panic. I was like, okay, if you're still here with me, I'm here with you. Let's do it. And the rest is history.
That's an amazing way to approach all this stuff. What's meant to be is meant for you. And it's that quote from Field of Dreams, if you build it, he will come.
Yeah.
And I think another really great quote that I love is from Steve Martin. It's something along the lines of become so good that you are unforgettable, or I can't remember exactly what the quote was, but it's like you basically focus on being the best version of yourself, and the right things will show up in your life. And if it doesn't, it wasn't meant for you. Let it go.
Yeah. And no matter what, I love that quote, but you are unforgettable to someone. It's not something you have to try. What you said, Colin, is the truth. Focused on yourself, focus on what you're doing, and trust that somebody feels that you're unforgettable. Don't go in there with that pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
I got to be unforgettable. I got to do something nobody's ever done.
Right.
No, you've already done it.
No.
It's by being you. There's no other Colin. There's no other me. There's no other, it's already there.
Yeah. Kamal, you should write a book, man.
I'm just a summation of everyone that has influenced me and taught me, including you.
Well, I appreciate you being here, and I know everyone else does as well. And before I leave you, I know you want to get some rest for tomorrow. I'm sure you got to wake up pretty early. Really quickly, 61st Street. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? It's on AMC, and
that's a little bit of a different sandwich right there. That's a different sandwich. The 61st Street on AMC, that's led by Courtney B. Vance and Anjanou Ellis, Academy Award nominee Anjanou Ellis, and Emmy Award winning Courtney B. Vance, Holt McElhenney, and Mark O'Brien and Tosin Cole. Great cast, and it's based on the South Side of Chicago. We shot everything on the South Side, within the houses, everything, like no sets, everything on location. And this particular hard-hitting drama it's kind of a hybrid procedural. I don't think people are going to expect it, even though I'm saying that. It's like, what does that mean? Well, you got to tune in to find out. It's going to explore the justice system in Chicago and the greater world, the greater United States, but through the eyes of one particular young man on the south side of Chicago that has the sky is the limit for him, and what happens at the hands of like an unfortunate incident with Chicago Police Department. And I play a cop, one of the few Black people in this particular squadron that is tasked with kind of keeping the peace. And you start to find my character being torn between his allegiance to the community that reflects who he is, and then his badge and his uniform that also reflects who he is, that brotherhood and the other brotherhood. And it's gonna be hard hitting, but it's not gonna be preachy. And that's what I love about the scripts. They're not preachy.
Man, it sounds phenomenal.
It's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, I'd love to chat with you a little bit more. I've got a script that I've been meaning to write for quite some time. It takes place in the south side of Chicago, and it's about an up and coming African American boxer and a Chicago police officer, and their unconventional way in which they meet and their relationship in life, pursuing their mutual love for boxing.
I'm digging it.
Yeah.
I'm digging it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to chat with you about it. So we'll have
we should
chat about it offline. But Kamal, thanks so much for your time, and so appreciate you being here. You are a light. You are an inspiration. And again, I wish you all the best. And before I leave you, just one last question I'd like to ask my guests before they jump off. What inspires you?
I would say just the people I have in my life. My mother inspires me. How she goes about caring for other individuals and being so selfless. And I have several family members and friends that I'm lucky to have in my life that teach me lessons every single day within our relationships. And so they inspire me to be my highest self. So I'm glad that I get to keep them around.
Awesome. Well, love to meet him someday. So next time you're in Chicago, you got to let me know.
All right, for sure. Right. That's a bet.
Great to meet you, Kamal. Thanks for being here. And make sure you guys all watch Endgame tonight.
Yes, do that.
All right. Take care, man. Appreciate you.
Take care.
All right. Woo, what an awesome individual. Man, you guys, we're going to have to rewatch this one. Just a ton of golden nuggets dropped tonight. My mere existence is my victory. Absolutely love that. And I just love his philosophy on life in terms of just throwing yourself into life fearlessly. And what he said, what he's attracted to is someone who just walks into the room being vulnerable enough to just be fearless and to be themselves, because he said there's only one you, there's only one Colin, there's only one Kamal, there's only one of each of us in there in the world. And the more that we can just keep embracing who we are and our own unique characteristics and qualities, that is where the gold is. And I really loved what he said about you are unforgettable to someone. And it really just, that's what life is all about, right? Just showing up and being your own true, unique self and continuing to fail up. There is no failure when you just keep showing up in life and just going after what you truly care about, because there's more disappointment in you not pursuing the things that matter to you than when you pursue the things that you care about and maybe not quite get it, but in that process, like Kamal said tonight, it's that process, it's that journey along the way. And the only way you're going to get there is if you just set a goal, set a dream, have it out there. And like we talked about tonight, it can shift, it may move, it may evolve, but the only way you're going to find that out is if you just pick something, have a goal, and go after it. And that's why I've created the whole Inspire community. And again, just want to remind you that on April 23rd here in Chicago, we are doing our first in-person live Inspire event. And if you want to grab tickets for that, you can go to my Instagram bio, click on the link there. And we also are going to be on my website putting on the link for you to be able to get tickets for that. And then also on June 24th, 25th, 26th, we are going to be down in West Palm Beach, Florida for Drama, Romantic Comedy Comic-Con. So this is, again, an amazing opportunity for you to meet your favorite actors from your favorite romantic comedies, Hallmark, Lifetime, you name it. So I'll be down there, and we're going to have an amazing weekend. So looking forward to seeing you guys all there. I think that's it for now, ladies and gents. Just want to say thank you again for being here. Thanks again for all your support. If you want to get your Coffee with Colin coffee mug, all you got to do is go to the link in my Instagram bio so you can pick one up there. And I wish you guys all my best. It's going to be an amazing week if you make it and choose it to be. So take everything that we talked about tonight and really, truly take that in and own it, and just keep going out there and being the best versions of yourself. All right. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you guys all really soon. Take care.